So I'm pretty sure everyone that watches my show already knows my stance on Anthony Albanese. I think he's a spineless weasel. And get this, ladies and gentlemen, how's this for an absolute pathetic excuse of a joke? So recently, we know that Anthony Albanese decided to give himself a pay rise. Why? Because he thinks that he's doing such a great job in destroying Australia. Like that is abundantly clear and quite evident, actually. Uh, he thought he was doing such a great job in destroying Australia. So he's like, I'll give myself a pay rise as well as my other cabinet ministers. There's about 50 of them, believe it or not. So they're on a pretty hefty pay packet already, and he's given them another pay increase recently. But how about this? Anthony Albanese is the highest paid politician in the world. Chris Minns, he's on the wicket. This is absolutely insane. He's the Premier of New South Wales, and he's on $431,000 a year. Has Sydney got better? Has New South Wales got better? Gee, I would like to think not. Ever since he came into power, I don't think there is another Premier in Australia that comes close to his pay packet. And why in the world does he get that much? That makes no sense to me. To put it in a contrast for you all, Trump, if he was accepting the amount of money that he would be receiving, it would be $610,000 of a president's salary, right? And he is the leader of the free bloody world. He's doing a lot more than Anthony Albanese's doing, but somehow Anthony Albanese needs $622,000 a year, plus everything else that he gets along with it. Now, Keir Starmer, on the other hand, gets $365,000 a year. So he's probably the lowest paid prime minister. So what's his incentive? You may be wondering, is it financial? Possibly. But compared to Anthony Albanese's $622,000, looks like Keir Starmer's out quite a lot of money, 200 something thousand dollars worth, if you ask me. So what is it that is incentivizing these politicians to basically destroy the very country many Australians and British people absolutely love? And why is it that Trump, on the other hand, is creating an utter utopia for people in the US, even though he's not getting paid a cent to do it? Well, first and foremost, Anthony Albanese is as corrupt as they come. So is Chris Minns, and so is Keir Starmer. It took him, I don't even know how long it is, but it took him way too long to even come away and say, we're going to do a national inquiry into the grape gangs over in the UK. Level of corruption. I think Keir Starmer just does it because he enjoys doing it. And Anthony Albanese, on the other hand, just enjoys getting paid at our expense to destroy our country. It is utterly ridiculous, if you ask me. By the way, doesn't take into account his $450,000 for life taxpayer-funded pension he's set to receive. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So not only is he getting paid $622,000 a year, but he's also going to be receiving $450,000 when he finishes up as Prime Dingbat Minister. Now, recently, Anthony Albanese faced the media, and because it's one thing that we know that Anthony Albanese is very good at doing, it's facing the media and linking things that have got nothing to do with anything. He links domestic violence and misogyny to why the government are banning people from social media. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me correctly. Unfortunately, here is Anthony Albanese's response during a press conference. Have a watch.
Oh, look, we're having the trial and we'll take on board all of the comments as part of that. That's why we set up a 12-month period. It was done in a bipartisan basis. We continue to work on a bipartisan basis. I note that there's widespread support for this. And increasingly, I think amongst the public, there is greater consciousness of the damage that social media can do on the mental health of young people, on issues such as the rise of misogyny. I refer to comments that members of the government have made as well. Tanya Plibersek yesterday made some comments about tackling violence against women and children, and how we not only have to invest in providing support on issues like housing and providing income support so that women don't feel like they can't leave a relationship, we've got to also consider what is going on with young men and boys being exposed to graphic material which does not promote healthy relationships, can often promote a violent perception and a misogynistic attitude towards women. And it is a scourge. The fact that more than one woman per week has lost their life on average this year is something that's completely unacceptable. We have to tackle this as government. We have to tackle this as media. We have to tackle this as whole of society needs to recognise that this is an issue we have to confront. So in 2022, did I go to an election saying, oh, we're going to have a social media ban for under 16s? No, I didn't, because that wasn't on the agenda. Tell you what, it's on the agenda globally now, is the impact of social media and the impact it's having on our society. And that's why government has a responsibility to act.
Do you really think that it is the government's responsibility how to parent your kids? I think the government needs to get its beak out of parenting your kids. I am not against a ban on social media for young kids. I think social media has a lot of positives, but it's got a significant amount of negatives, especially with young boys and teens. And I'm not doubting for 1 second that we haven't seen an uptick in violence with young people, and they're seeing the way they're treating women and even the way girls are treating boys. Society is completely and utterly cooked because social media has created this framework. It's changed the way individuals see the world. There's not much connection anymore happening in the real world. And in fact, there's so much information. We have a great deal of it at our fingertips. And the problem that we've got is parents allow young kids to have phones, social media, and as a result, the parents just allow social media to parent the kid. So parents don't do much parenting nowadays. They don't really know what their kid's watching. And so not much education is really being done on the good side. In fact, young kids are finding horrible material online because that's what the algorithm will do. If a child looks at something and likes it, best be sure the algorithm is going to push that to the forefront. But it's not the government's job to parent the kid. What the government's job is there for is to help support parents, not go, we're going to ban social media for you. We're going to tackle it that way. No, that is way too simple and easy. Do you think kids are not going to find out ways for themselves? Do you think their attitude is going to be changed dramatically because you've banned social media for them? Get real. You haven't seen the statistics like I have. You haven't seen what kids do. Kids are pretty intelligent, I'll have you know, especially when they're getting to the teenage years. They will find out what they want to find out. It's not that hard. So banning a child from social media, you may think it's a great step in the right direction, but it's not the government's job to do that. It's the parents' job to go, we're not going to give our kid a phone. Thank you very much. We're not going to give our kid social media until they're 16 at least. And even then it's a stretch. I think the world needs to have better parents. Parents are having to work enormously hard just to put food on the table now. The cost of living is through the roof. So Anthony Albanese is going, oh, this is a blanket help. This is going to help kids enormously. No, it's not. It's going to stress the kids out a lot. It's going to stress the parents out a lot as well. Because the kids are going to feel frustrated and they're going to go search for it elsewhere. You need better educational techniques, much better. But Anthony Albanese's got no idea about that. Absolutely no idea. And instead of fixing the cost of living pressure, which would then free up parents, the one thing that really destroys relationships the most is financial pressure and financial burden. It's very, very difficult to overcome a difficult financial burden within a relationship. It just puts so much pressure on both of them to do well or just to get by. And if the kid is seeing that, what do you think the kid's gonna feel? It's horrible. It's dangerous. But Anthony Albanese, all he seems to care about is, let's ban social media. And you know what? It's linked to domestic violence. It's why young men are so violent and angry. No, there's a deeper cause than that. There's a much deeper messaging. And it's the wrong kind of messaging for the government to step in and get involved. They're becoming your parent. They're becoming your child's parent. Do you want that? So now the government steps in and takes control. That's wrong. The government should get their hands away from your kids and focus on what it's there to do. Serve the people. In cost of living problems, deal with that. You guys have got a massive pay packet and you're doing jack shit to fix any of the problems that we've got in our society. Then you go, we're going to give everyone a wage increase. Right. But then not allow employers, you tax them to billion, so they're now having to deal with even more pressure. So they're not making enough, first and foremost, to be able to keep up with the wage increase. So the business is not only getting taxed to billion, but they're not making enough so that they're able to support their staff. So it's great for Anthony Albanese to make himself look good and pay himself a lot. But really, it's just smoke and mirrors. It's just a bunch of lies. Just what happened to doing things the right way, doing things the proper way? Common sense. Instead of just virtue signaling outside of your backside all the time. Frustrating. Anyway, that's enough from me, but you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.